This is a deck guide and primer for Oskar Rubbish Reclaimer, one of my favorite commanders of all time. He enables the wackiest and coolest plays, and he's just a blast. So fun to play. If you're a fan of Leyline of Anticipation style cards that let you play at flash speed, Oskar's your man. So what does he do, first of all? So he's a 3/3 human wizard for 5 mana, though I'll tell you, you're never going to pay 5 for him. The number of times I've paid 5 for him, in my recollection, is 0. Because he costs 1 less, and it's worded a little weird. It says this spell, so a lot of times opponents won't get this, so you might want to explain it to them right off the bat. In fact, having a little bit of Rule Zero talk about Oskar before you get started can be helpful for everyone, because he is definitely not intuitive the way he works. So let's talk through it. First of all, it says this spell, he's referring to himself, costs 1 less for each different mana value among cards in your graveyard. So what that means is, let's say you've got a land in your graveyard, a Preordain, and a Baleful Strix. That's a 0, a 1, and a 2 mana value, and that would make him cost 3 less to cast. So if you'd not ever cast him from the command zone yet, and he's just his initial cost, that would mean he costs just a Dimir, a blue and a black. So the goal is to get that cost reduction online pretty quickly. I mean, you don't need to rush it. This is a control deck at heart. It's a control deck with a strong Reanimator sub-theme, and you're going to be playing a lot at instant speed, pretty much everything if things are going well. So it's just like a draw-go sort of deck, like for the most part, which gives you a lot of flexibility in terms of how you can respond to what happens in the game. Because, experienced Magic players know being able to play stuff at flash speed is inherently extremely powerful. Think about the difference between playing your handful of creatures and then the next player casts Blasphemous Act versus play all those creatures on end step right before your turn. It's almost like they have haste, right? And then they survive any board wipes that would have happened in the meantime. Let's say they were playing a board wipe to deal with someone else's board, and it just kind of incidentally hits yours. This gets around all of those problems. So why do we get to play at flash speed? Well, that's his second line of text, right? And whenever you discard a non-land card, you may cast it from your graveyard. So the reason that this breaks timing rules is that it doesn't specify a time limit for you to cast the spell. If you look at Oskar relative to a card like Etali Primal Conqueror, I think that's the name of it, the new one, the blue and, or sorry, the red and green one, it lets you cast those cards right then, and only then. So it's not like you get till end of turn. You get that timing window right then and only then. So you don't get till end of turn, the cards don't float there until you're ready to cast them. As soon as you discard, you can cast them. It's almost like Madness. In fact, it's almost exactly like Madness if you're familiar with that mechanic, except the only difference is that these are cast from your graveyard versus being cast from exile. You still pay their cost normally, but you can play them right away. So what are we trying to do? We're trying to fill up our graveyard, and then we're trying to have a way to discard cards whenever we want so that we can cast spells right away. So let's start off with what we're doing in the opening turns. So, and I want to just touch briefly on the cost of this deck. $1,500 is a lot, but I'm running very expensive lands. You absolutely do not need that. You can run half islands, half swamps, and be totally fine. And then throw in any extra blue-black dual lands you have. As you can see, I have it sorted. I have it, changed to cheapest here, and $1,100 is something like 70% of the cost of this deck, and this could be 0, and the deck's going to play perfectly fine. In fact, if you were to cut all of the most expensive cards in this deck, it's not going to hurt you that badly. Treachery, you don't need it. Seagate Restoration, you don't need it. Agadeem's Awakening, you kind of need it. I would splurge on this one. The One Ring is pretty great in this deck because you can play it at instant speed and you're still casting it. Can lead to some massive blowouts. So again, I would splurge on this one, especially if you just don't have one in your collection. It's a card that is worth investing in, and I don't see it ever really going down unless it gets banned, which I wouldn't be that broken up about. I think it is ban-worthy, but I digress. Snapcaster, you can cut it. Fierce Guardianship, Mana Drain, you don't need these cards. Even Sightgrift. Like, Sightgrift's great, everyone knows that, but you don't need it. This deck can function without it. In fact, I used to have a budget version of this deck, and I ran Washout. Where is it? This card is actually really good. Anyway, I don't have it in the considering anymore, but the fact that you can play sorceries at instant speed makes a lot of cards that would otherwise be a little bit weaker very powerful. So it opens you up to a lot of really creative deck building options. So anyway, before I got off on that tangent, I wanted to talk about the lands, because one land, if you have them, that is pretty important for this deck, and if you don't, it's fine. You can run the less expensive versions of the fetch lands, but like any way to get land into your graveyard quickly is really helpful for Oskar, because they're a 0 mana value, and that reduces his cost right away. So playing a fetch land almost is like making 2 mana, because you get the one land that it finds, and it also reduces his cost by 1. So even if you don't have the expensive fetch lands, the ones from Onslaught, actually they were just reprinted in Modern Horizons 3, so they're pretty inexpensive right now. But even if you don't have those, you can play Terramorphic Expanse, Evolving Wilds, even there's other ones that are pretty good too. There's a new one from Fabled Passage is good. Play as many of these as you can, unless you've got the original fetches, in which case play all of those. You should play all 7 that you can fit in this deck, because they're very important towards Oscar's strategy. So yeah, just play the early game, play some ramp spells. We're running the full contingent of normal ramp, which is Dimir Signet, Talisman, Thalwar Stone, and Arcane Signet, all the colored sources. You could throw in a couple of the colorless ones too. I've considered doing that. I like playing these flip ones, like Matzalantli, which is a looter, which is what this deck wants, like a lot of looting effects, because they allow you to discard. And then Everflowing Well, I love this card. I played it in a lot of decks. It flips into a land that does some wacky stuff. So yeah, play your ramp early game. Maybe drop a board wipe or 2, use removal as you need to, and then really what you're looking to do is set up a discard outlet, set up some sort of draw engine, and get yourself going. So best cards in the deck, and ones you're kind of looking for in your opening hand, are number 1, Ghostly Pilferer. This is maybe the best card in the deck. This card's phenomenal pretty much in any deck, honestly. If you just throw this in a random blue deck, you will be shocked how many cards this will draw you. Whenever an opponent casts a spell from anywhere other than their hand, you draw a card. That includes commanders, it includes stuff like Jeska's Will that lets you play from exile, it includes stuff like Oskar that's I'm casting stuff from the graveyard. As Magic gets more and more advanced, we're seeing effects that allow people to cast from other zones more and more and more and more. Play stuff from the library, all this stuff counts. All this stuff triggers Ghostly Pilferer. You're going to find yourself drawing a lot of cards, and this card majorly goes under the radar, and people don't realize how essential it is to the functionality of this deck. So usually you can just run this out on turn 2 and not worry about someone removing it, but very astute players will realize that this is a key piece to the strategy, so just be wary of that and try to protect him if possible. Although we do have a decent number, kind of a lot of reanimation effects, so you can always get it back if you need to, and we have some redundancy. Let me sort by mana value. So Ghostly Pilferer is probably the gold standard of discard outlets in this deck, but we also have Putrid Imp, which is great. It's just a single black tip, discard a card at will. All the other effects are not relevant at all. And then the new card for Modern Horizons 3, this card's fantastic, Psychic Frog. And if you don't have this, you can run Psychotog as a replacement, which is what this name is punning on. Psychic Frog. And then we've got a lot of other looter effects too that are only once a turn, but still quite good. So stuff like Jace Vryn's Prodigy. This one's late game, it's only going to get you 1 loot because your graveyard's going to be full really fast. But we've got Likeness Looter, I almost never use this clone ability, but it is nice to keep in mind, like if you ever need that. We're mainly playing for this draw and discard effect though. Rona is fantastic because you get to untap every time you play a legendary, including your commander. Vohar is great because it's got a like Snapcaster Mage style effect should you need it late game. Like let's say your Living Death gets milled, you know, or Living Death's like the key card you're going to be casting with this, but you should like keep in mind that you have this option just in case you need to cast something else. Like, you know, sacking Vohar to cast something like See the Truth if you're light on cards is really a really impactful play, because this card, normally it's just like an impulse style card where you're looking at the top three, you get to choose one, put it into your hand, and the rest go to the bottom. But if you cast it from the graveyard, as in like you let's say you use a Ghostly Pilfer, you discard a card to make him unblockable. You discard See the Truth. You have Oskar in play. Oskar lets you cast See the Truth from your graveyard. Boom, 2 mana, draw 3. Just like Ancestral Recall, except it costs twice as much, and it's a sorcery, and it's conditional. Man, old cards were really balanced, right? So yeah, that's what you're looking to set up, is some sort of discard outlet. So you know, you're going to be mulliganing for at least a couple land, but really, you know, this deck's light on lands, and the reason for that is, first of all, we're running a lot of MDFCs. I really like these. They give you a lot of flexibility, but don't be like worried about playing these as your lands early game. That's why they're here. You know, becoming a better Magic player is all about like recognizing when you have to give up value for tempo. And, you know, the better you get, the more you will learn that like a lot of times you just have to make a suboptimal play so that you can get your game rolling. Like, don't keep bad hands, don't keep one-landers hoping you draw one. Assume you're gonna like have the worst case scenario, never draw a land. It's never gonna happen the way you want, and you'll never be disappointed that way. Going to 5 is not a death sentence. I win games going to 5 all the time. So just be more critical about your mulligans. So in this deck, and we'll do some like mulligan practice at the end of this, so we can run through that. But basically, like, you're gonna look for a discard outlet right away. You need at least one of those to keep an opener, I'd say. So you're looking for something. I'm gonna switch to types and tags so we can see how I've sorted things. These are my custom types and tags, so you can look at them in my deck list, which I'll link in the description. And yeah, let's look for self, mill, and discard. These are all the ways we have to like get stuff into the graveyard. And we're not running a lot of self mill effects. I just have this category like combined. You can, but I'd say it's better to just run more looter effects. Like, rather than playing something like Mesmeric Orb, which like kind of paints a target on you and people get annoyed by it, you're better off just adding another looter. Even if like you don't have all of these ones, there's tons of looter effects, right? There's Looter Ilkor, there's Merfolk Looter, there's Thought Courier. These are all fine. You don't need these specific ones. Play what you have, and this deck's gonna work. Even something silly like this old card Bog Witch, which is like pretty unplayable in most decks, is actually really good in this deck. It's like a free Dark Ritual every turn, and you're getting to cast the spell you discarded, so it's not even that big of a downside. It's not a downside at all, in fact. Same thing with a card like Forbid. This is a nasty card, right? Because, like, yeah, that's a hefty buyback cost. Or is it? We actually want to be discarding cards in this deck, right? So, pretty powerful stuff. So make sure you're getting a repeatable way to discard cards. Like, just a Bitter Triumph in your opener is not sufficient. Like, you need a repeatable way to discard cards for this deck to be like working the way it's intended. So you're looking for something like Putrid Imp. Ideally, you want something like a looter effect. Jace is great, Likeness Looter. Any of these in your opener, Rona, Vohar. The best one, like I said, is the Ghostly Pilferer. If you've got that in your opener and at least 2 lands, that's a snap keep. Okay, and then next is like, what are we doing like long game? Well, what are we discarding? Because like, you're not always going to be able to cast everything you discard. You do have to still pay for this stuff, and we have some cost reduction effects, like 2 of them, that are really powerful. Patrician Geist lets you like lower your the Anthem effect is irrelevant. We're not playing any spirits. Maybe there's 1 or 2, whatever. Don't even worry about that. We're playing this for the cost reduction only. It basically lets you play any card that you've cast from your graveyard, which is all the stuff you discard with Oskar, for 1 less mana. Same thing with Gravebreaker Lamia. This also like entombs a card on cast, or sorry, on ETB. Really powerful card, especially like if you can get this in your graveyard and reanimate it early, that's really strong. And then what else are we reanimating? I do have a section, I don't know how updated this is, but oh, I guess I don't. I used to have a reanimation targets section, but I'm going to just switch back to type and we'll sort by mana value to see like what's at the top end of our curve. Massacre Wurm, Troll of Khazad-dûm's card's phenomenal in this deck because you can swamp cycle it early and reanimate it late. Shadowgrange Archfiend, love this guy. Always pay the madness, even if you're not going to hit anything that huge. I mean, unless you're going to die. The madness cost is great. You can like get this out really early. It really like can wreck people if they haven't played any creatures and they just run out their 5-mana commander. Just like really get them. And then your two like juicy reanimation targets are Archon of Cruelty, no brainer, phenomenal card. You'll love it. And Villa's Broker of Blood. You know, little trick in case you didn't know is if you cast Reanimate on this card, Reanimate being the 1-mana sorcery that puts a creature from any graveyard into battlefield under your control, you lose that much life. The way the rules work is you will draw 8 cards if you reanimate Villas, so keep that in mind. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on that because it involves some complex rules, but go ahead and look it up if you're interested. Very powerful, extremely like good card though. If you get this out, you're gonna win. And then like Grey Merchant of Asphodel is how we're winning. Gary, good old Gary, right? We're running a lot of black pips, and we're running Living Death. We're running like ways to sack. We've got 2 sack outlets in High Market and Phyrexian Tower. I go back and forth between including another one, like something like Viscerous here is really good in this deck because you can sack your board right before you Living Death and make sure you get everything back. So that can be a really powerful card in this particular build. So yeah, like there's a lot of fun tricks you can pull off, being able to cast sorceries and other permanents at instant speed. I'll go through just a couple of them, but part of the fun of playing this deck is discovering all of the neat little tricks you can do. This is a pretty tough deck to play. I know I say that kind of frequently, but you know, the decks that I like the most are the ones that have a high skill cap because I get a lot out of like making misplays and feeling like I can do something better. Like I had a like better line, or I could have won that game if I had done this or that, and I find I get the most fulfillment out of decks that kind of do that. So hopefully if you're watching this you enjoy those kind of decks, because that's what I talk a lot about and I do get into the nitty-gritty quite a bit. So yeah, like what are some of the fun tricks we can do when we're drawing and discarding and casting stuff at instant speed? Well, I already went over one of them, which is like, boom, drop in the One Ring at instant speed. You're still casting it, so you do get the effect. It does not have to be cast from hand. It just has to be cast. So, yeah, go ahead and ruin that Craterhoof Behemoth player's day and drop in the One Ring at instant speed. That's going to get you some rage quits right there, and feels pretty good, I have to tell you. Another one I really like is Treachery. Again, this is an expensive card. It's a reserved list card, but it is so good. There are tons of budget replacements for this. You absolutely do not need Treachery. You could play any of the like control magic effects. I used to run Dragon Lord Silumgar. That's a really good one because you can still Planeswalkers. You can play Agent of Treachery. There's tons of effects like this. I mean, back as far as the original set, there's the card Control Magic, which is 4 mana to do this exact same thing. You don't get to untap 5 lands, but still, stealing a creature at instant speed from someone, maybe that person was attacking you or was going to attack you. I mean, I think once, I should know this, but I think once you steal it, if it's tapped, it stays tapped, I'm pretty sure. So you're not going to want to steal a tap creature, but you could always steal a creature from someone else. They think like, oh, Oskar doesn't have any blockers, but this other guy just played his Eldrazi. All of a sudden you're like, yoink, I'll take that Eldrazi and I'll block that Seedborn Muse you thought you had a free attack on me with. Feels pretty good, man, especially when it's free. You're untapping all 5 lands when this enters. Great card. I love it. Necromancy is an interesting one. So like, I could be running a different reanimation effect, and in fact I have at other times. I used to play like Breach the Multiverse, and Incarnation Technique's a really good one in here too. Feel free to slot that in if you don't have one or more of these cards. But I like Necromancy because it gives you some flexibility. Like ideally, like you're not going to want to cast this at flash speed because you can play it at flash speed normally with Oskar, right? But unfortunately, like things don't always go perfectly, and you won't always have a discard outlet. It does happen. And the flexibility of being able to flash this in if you need to, even though this creature gets sacked at end of turn, is really valuable. And thankfully this card just got a reprint in the Murders at Karlov commander decks, so this used to be an extremely expensive card, and it's now pretty reasonable. And it's a really good one. I really like this card quite a lot. So, it's just fantastic to, same thing, animate dead something at instant speed to like drop in a blocker that they weren't expecting. Just so powerful. Really, really good. And then I just want to talk about some of the other cards I didn't get to that are like really strong in this deck in particular. I really quite like this Secrets of the Dead. This is one of the strongest cards in the deck. It lets you draw a card every time you cast a spell from your graveyard, which, like, once you have a free discard outlet, like let's say you have a Putrid Imp in play, all of a sudden every spell you cast can be cast from the graveyard just by discarding it and then casting it. So you can kind of let everyone know that. You're like, okay, like, make sure they understand how it works. I've got Oskar in play, I've got this Putrid Imp in play, or Ghostly Pilferer, or Psychic Frog, and I can discard a card at will, right? Like, and as soon as I discard it, I can cast it with Oskar. So you can kind of shortcut all that, make sure they understand, and then you can just be like, okay, I'm casting this, and if someone comes in and is like, how are you casting a Toxic Deluge at instant speed? You're like, I already explained that. I'm shortcutting all of this because I explained I discard it to Putrid Imp and I cast it with Oskar. And then every time you do that, if you have Secrets of the Dead out, you're going to draw a card. Every time you do that, if you have Patrician Geist out, that spell's going to cost one less. You can see how this kind of like adds up to a very powerful synergy that can quickly get out of hand. So that's a card I love to see. I love to look for. If you wanted to upgrade this deck and add some tutors, it's one that you're going to be looking for frequently because it really helps the deck hum. Lastly, I just want to talk about some of the reanimation effects that I didn't really touch a lot on. There are a lot of them in this deck. In fact, I'm going to move back to types and tags so we can see the different ones I'm running. Right now I'm running 9, and 2 of these are not really reanimation. They're just like reanimation adjacent in Entomb, which lets you find any card, put it into your graveyard, and Buried Alive. Like, the act of putting these into your graveyard doesn't allow you to cast them with Oskar. I just want to make sure that that's clear. But it does allow you to use your other reanimation spells to get them back. So a lot of times when you're going to set up a value engine, you're going to get your like wheels turning, and then the way you're going to win is you're going to cast a Buried Alive or an Entomb, put Grey Merchant of Asphodel in the graveyard. Where is he? He's under Group Slug or Life Gain. Here we go. You're going to get him in your graveyard. You're going to maybe get some other like big black pip stuff in your graveyard, like Villas or Archon of Cruelty, and then you're going to cast a Living Death and just like boom. Basically what this does is all creatures in play get sacrificed, and all cards in the graveyard come into the battlefield for every player. So what you'll find when you cast Living Death often is it's going to mostly wrath everyone's board, including your own, and then you're going to get like 5 things back, including Grey Merchant, a bunch of other black pips. Something to know about the clones in the deck is any that enter with Living Death cannot copy any of the stuff that's entering with Living Death. So if you bring in, Clever Impersonator plus Grey Merchant plus Archon of Cruelty, you can't copy the Grey Merchant or the Archon of Cruelty, unfortunately. So a lot of times what you're going to want to do is save these in hand, or, keep them on the board so that Living Death puts them into the graveyard, brings in Gary and kin, and then you cast another reanimation spell to bring back one of these. And then you copy Gary, and maybe you do it again. And like all of a sudden everyone's taking 50 damage and you're gaining 150. So you're going to win games that way. You're going to win games just by slamming an early, like, Archon of Cruelty. Like, just getting this guy on board on turn 3 or 4 is devastating. Like, it will set you ahead like nothing else. Yeah, sure, they're going to try to like land their swords and Path to Exiles on it, but if you've got any counter magic backup, you're golden. Like, we only run a handful of counters, but like, so make sure you save them for when it really matters. And then having something like a Snapcaster in hand to like hit, or you know, Jace doesn't really work well with counters, but Vohar does, as long as you sack him in advance of your power play. Like, you can sack him, target a Fierce Guardianship or an Offer You Can't Refuse or any counter you want in your graveyard, so you've got it like at the ready. This is sorcery speed only, so you can't do that instant speed, but you can stack him in advance, make the counter ready, and then like boom, hit them with it when they try to stop you. And they'll already know it's coming, but who cares? Just like drink those tears. Salty deliciousness. Snapcaster is obviously the best version of this. You can do it at instant speed, so this will get them good. So, you know, save these critical pieces for flashing back Living Death, because a lot of times like it'll just end up in your graveyard. You either mill it or you had to discard it because you had nothing better to discard, and that's fine because we have these ways to get it back. Watch out for Bojuka Bog and similar effects. That's really gonna ruin your day. So try to, you know, you can't counter a Bojuka Bog, but try to like keep your graveyard not as full as possible if you're worried about it. I wouldn't necessarily bury it alive like your 3 most critical pieces if a Bojuka Bog will like wreck your day. Maybe like wait and cast the Buried Alive right before your turn starts with Oskar. You know, draw a card, discard a card, cast Buried Alive right heading into your power turn. And a lot of times like people aren't going to be expecting it because like this deck, you know, it's got a lot of synergy, but it doesn't really do that much. Like, usually there's a bigger threat, at least a more apparent threat. I think that this deck is in fact like maybe the biggest threat, but people don't often realize that. So just take advantage of that and like really just hit them with a lot all at once. So build up your mana early game, like, you know, clear the board or make sure you're safe, make sure you've got a good draw engine in place. If you can get this Matzalantli flipped, it's not really that hard actually. Like, you need 4 different permanent types in your graveyard, which are the easy ones to get are creature, land, artifact, enchantment. I don't even think we have any planeswalkers or battles, so those are the 4 you're going for, and it's really not that hard to get there. And then it's an expensive flip, but man, is it powerful. Look at what this card does. Add X mana of any one color where X is the number of permanents in your graveyard. It's not uncommon to make 10, even 20 mana with this for a single land. So, you know, if you can get this flipped and no one can do anything about it, that's a way to win a game pretty quick. And other than that, if you get an active Villas in play, even if you just reanimate Villas like I talked about earlier and get free 8 cards, yeah, you're going to lose 8 life, but like, it's pretty hard to lose that game at that point. And then the last piece I didn't talk that much about is Bone Miser. This card's just nuts. Like, it's a little hard to play and hard to keep track of, but man, look how powerful it is. If you've got a free discard outlet and a big hand because you've just drawn a bunch of cards for whatever reason, and you, let's say you have a bunch of like extra land in hand, you can just drop 5 land to this guy and make 10 mana with your free discard outlet. And then all his other effects like are very powerful too. It's really just an engine in and of itself if you have a free discard outlet. And yeah, this deck, I highly recommend you try it. It's a blast. I'm in love with this commander, and it's going to have a special place in my heart, like always, as one of my favorite decks to play. It's just so fun. So anyway, that was a lot. I'm going to do a little bit of playtesting and mulligan practice for you guys, and then I'm going to post a game right after this. So I hope you enjoy. Please leave me feedback or comments or questions or anything you want to do. I really appreciate all the comments I get and all of my like regular viewers and the people who keep encouraging me. It means a lot to me, and I'm new at this, so I'm also totally open to constructive feedback. So if anyone has anything that they want to see more of or less of, feel free to let me know. And even if not, like, just dropping me a comment saying, like, good job, or great, thank you, or whatever. I really appreciate all those. They mean a lot to me. So please like my videos, and please leave comments if you want to see more. So let's get to some mulligan practice. Alright, what does this hand look like? So we've got 3 land, which is nice. This deck's really light on land, so getting a 3-lander is pretty strong. We've got Vilis, which is obviously not playable, but we do have a discard outlet for him. We don't have a reanimation piece, but, you know, if we had a reanimate in this hand, let's just imagine that, you know, magical Christmas land, then we can get Vilis out as soon as we can get him into the graveyard. So this hand is extremely good. Snap keep, like 100%. We have a turn 1 play, we have a Frantic Search, we have a fetch land so we can get her Surveil land on turn 1, or we could play Preordain on turn 1, which is probably what we'll end up doing, and save the Surveil land for later. This hand just looks nuts. So let's play it out, see what our first few turns might look like. So we'll draw for turn. Snapcaster's great, especially with a Preordain in the graveyard, with a Circular Logic in the graveyard. Like, this hand, you just can't ask for more than this. We don't have I guess we could ask for more than this. We don't have a recurring discard outlet. I did mention that that's very important. But we have a Preordain to search, we have a Frantic Search to search, we have a temporary discard outlet, which we can hang on to if we don't find much with Preordain. I think this is playable. Like, I would not mulligan this hand. So let's drop the Morphic Pool, and let's cast Preordain. We'll look at the top 2. Vohar, there we go. We found our discard outlet and a land. So, you know, we've got 2 other land. I think that is enough that I would bottom this. I think by the time we get to turn 4, we're going to have found another land, especially with Vohar. So I'm going to bottom this card, and I'm going to top this one, which is going to shortcut to be drawn, and then we'll go to our next turn. Ooh, beautiful. Man, if you get draws like this, like, you're going to win. Like, I never get draws like this. This is sweet. I mean, I know I'm getting it right now, but in playtest, of course. Wah, 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 wah. Okay, so play a land. We could either drop Arcane Signet, or we can play Vohar. I think either is perfectly valid. In fact, we could have maybe even played Scalding Tarn just to get into the graveyard, so that we can reduce Oscar's cost by 1. So don't just drop a land so quickly when you have a decision like this, like I just did. You know, do as I say, not as I do, because, like, I'd say in general, like, slow down when you're thinking about your early plays, and if someone gives you a hard time about, like, hemming and hawing over the land you're playing, tell them to fuck off, because, like, these decisions are critical. These early game decisions are not irrelevant, and if they think they are, sucks for them. Like, especially in this deck, it's very important. Like, one little tiny difference like that could make all the difference. It could, like, affect all of your future turns. So, like, take your time and think about it. You shouldn't take forever. Like, that's annoying, I get it. But to take, like, 10 seconds to think about what land you're going to play, if someone gives you a hard time for that, like, I don't want to be playing with that person anyway. And I'd be happy to tell them. I think you guys know that, like, I speak my mind, but, you know, maybe ease off on that a little, because I don't always get the best feedback. But that's just who I am. So anyway, I mean, I'm not even going to continue playing this hand. This hand's just nuts. Like, it's going to work. We're going to, like, whichever of these you play is going to be fine. I think I'd probably play the Vohar first, honestly, just to get it online. And then who cares about the fetch? We can do it next turn, since we're not worrying about playing Oskar yet anyway. Like, getting Oskar out early is not really that important. It's a lot more important that you set up a strong foundation, like getting a looter active first, getting your mana rocks in play. I would focus on that stuff first. It also makes you seem like less of a threat if you're playing your commander a little bit later. So I think that's the right thing to do, typically. Alright, let's go to our next turn. We drew another looter. So I think before we do anything, we'll start off just by looting. So we're going to draw a card, and then we have to discard something. So we want to be really, like, thoughtful about what we're discarding here, because we know we have a fetch land we can get in for our 0. So we want to probably try to discard something that is not 0 or 1. I think a good choice is this looter, because we already have a looter in play. Having 2 is good, but we could also discard Vilis. Maybe that's the right thing to do. The only thing about that is it's going to draw a lot of eyes on you. And if someone else has a reanimation card like a Reanimate or an Animate Dead, that can wreck your day. So be careful there. I mean, we've got the circular logic, but it might be hard to land. If you can ensure you're set up to protect your villas in the graveyard, you can maybe go for this. It's probably the best play, but again, just be careful. Like, again, plan for the worst and you will never be disappointed. So let's say we put villas in. Just roll the dice. And now we've got we've got 2 mana values in our graveyard, but we can easily get there with the Scalding Tarn. So if we play the Scalding Tarn, we can get an untapped land if we need to. Actually, that's probably the best play, because then we can play the Signet and still have 2 mana left over to land Oskar. So I think that's the play. So we're going to crack the fetch, we're going to view library, grab like either Watery Grave, Island, or Swamp, doesn't really matter. I see a bunch of blue cards in our hands, so let's just get Island. So grab the Island, close and shuffle, tap 2, play the Signet, and tap 2 more, play Oskar. He costs 3 less because we've got a 0, an 8, and a 1. Cool. So can't do anything else. We have no protection, but no one's going to interact with this board probably. Unless someone else is really going off and they have a big board, maybe then, think about holding him back. Alright, let's just play one more turn, see what this turn looks like. Okay, so we did not draw a land, so I think our first priority is to find a land. We can start with Frantic Search, or we can start with Vohar. I think Frantic Search probably makes more sense because it digs us one deeper. Just kind of like gives us a lot more insurance that we'll get a land that we need. So let's cast the Frantic Search. I'm going to draw 2. Beautiful. So, we're going to discard Soul Ring, and we're going to discard Likeness Looter, because we don't need that anymore. We could consider casting this. We're going to untap 3 land, and then we're going to cast Soul Ring, and we're going to cast Likeness Looter. So why not get that value, right? And then we've got 3 mana left over, so we could loot again, but there's no reason to do that on our turn unless we're like looking for a land specifically. And we already got the land, so we'll play that. So even if we wanted to copy a permanent, there's really not a lot of reason to do that right now. We can do it at instant speed. We only have 1 loot effect, so if we consider that we might want to cast 2 spells, we can really only cast 1 instantly with Oskar, so it may be worth playing something now and then just leaving some mana up. So if we had a good target, we could play the Fimage, we could copy whatever creature we like. Let's say someone has a Dockside, that would be great. But even if you just want to get some value and copy a looter, you can do that. Or you can hang on to this. We're a little light on card advantage here, so I think copying more looters is not necessarily the way to go. I think if it were me, not knowing what's on the rest of the boards, I'd probably just hang on to this, even though it's not the greatest value. We don't need a lot of value at this point. We have a lot of mana, we have Soul Ring, so the danger here is that we run out of cards. So I think the safer play is just leave all of this stuff up. We can't cast the Massacre Wurm, we don't have the mana for that, but we can cast a Fimage at instant speed, and that's a lot of power. We don't have to do that, but if someone attacks us or someone plays a creature that we really want to copy and get the ETB for, we can do that. Otherwise, we can hold up Circular Logic. Worst case scenario, we can just use the loot effect, draw something. Great, even better. We can discard Metamorph. If there's nothing better, we just make another Soul Ring. So this is a great hand. We just need to find a draw engine. There's a good one, and this will really get going pretty quickly. Alright, let's do one more. Beautiful. I love seeing Secrets of the Dead. Oh, I love seeing Ghostly Pilfer. Man, I wish I could draw more hands like this in real games. This hand, just incredible. By the way, I didn't really talk about it yet, but feel free to play this as a land. We don't need to in this hand, but feel free to drop this as a land. It's a really powerful piece in our deck, but we can always get it back later by playing the bounce land that we're playing. So if you play it early, just be careful with your bounce land later, or prioritize on bouncing this so you can cast the spell later, because this is a powerful win con for late game if your Living Death gets exiled for some reason, which actually happened to me in the game I'm going to post right after this. So just wanted a side note on that. In this case, I would not play it. We have plenty of land. But yeah, let's just play this one out. And we get the Entomb. Beautiful. I mean, Entomb's not going to do a lot for us right now. We don't have any like immediate action for it. But so I would just play land. Or actually, we should play the Delta, because then we, right before our next turn, we can crack it. We can get the Surveil land, which is underground, under city sewers. Yeah, this one. So we'll get that, close and shuffle. We get to scry one. It's a land. It's a utility land, but still we don't want to draw more lands. So we put that in the graveyard. So this basically drew us a card. Or, you know, it got rid of a card we didn't want to draw, so we're going to draw something better instead. Troll is fine. It's basically another land. We're not really going to cast this as a creature, but it's a nice swamp cycler. If anything, it just, like, we only have 0 mana value in our graveyard right now, it puts a 6 in there. And Entomb can put some, you know, Entomb's great early, by the way, it wouldn't have been unreasonable to play, like, the Takenuma or the Underground River, and to cast Entomb for, say, a Gary, or like maybe something like medium powered that you might just want to reanimate later. Like I often get like Ghostly Pilfer with my Entomb or my Buried Alive, just because it's a non-threatening looking card that is actually like extremely valuable to your game plan. And if you draw an Unearth or a Reanimate or an Animate Dead, you can drop it on that and people won't think a lot of it. They might even think like, oh, you're a bad player. Like, why are you wasting a spell on this, like, or why are you wasting an Entomb on this, like, just random crappy creature? And, you know, people who think that way are going to lose to you. So, we drew the Troll. We're just going to slam the Ghostly Pilfer here. Love to get this guy out on turn 2. Most of the time people haven't played their commanders yet, so it's like, you know, pass turn, play my commander, play my commander, play my commander. You're like, okay, thanks, draw, draw, draw. Like, dude, this card's nuts. Yeah, let's just do another hand, because this one's too good. Alright, this hand, we got a Looter, we got a Mana Rock, we got 3 land. This hand's sick. We got the Troll. Even if we had a 1 land and the Troll, that's enough, because this finds a land, then we land the Looter, and we're in good shape. Draw, we drew another Looter, great. Play the Underground Sea. No plays. We could cycle the Troll. In fact, like, if I had not gone so quickly, I probably would have done that. So we have this mana, we might as well cycle it. We already have land we need, but like, we don't really want to play Otawara as a land, so like cycling this seems good to me. Now we could, what land do we get? This is a good question, because we already have the Underground Sea, which kind of sucks, because that's what we want to get, is the untapped duel. But whatever, first world problems, right? I'd probably just grab, like, I don't know, it's a tough one actually, because the Surveil land comes in tapped, and we really want to play Arcane Signet or one of these 2-drops next turn. Actually, what we probably want to do is play a 2-drop on turn 2, and then on turn 3 we can play Arcane Signet into another 2-drop, which may be Oskar, actually. So we might want to like think through how that might work before we decide what land to get here. Again, like, I know I'm like getting into the minutia with these decisions, but like, it's these kind of decisions that could potentially win or lose games, or like add 5 or 10 percentage points to your chance of winning or losing. So like, I think the safest thing to do here is to get a land that can come in untapped. I'm probably just going to get a basic swamp. So let's get the swamp. That goes to hand. And now we've got a 6 in our graveyard, right? Okay, so now we'll go to our next turn. We drew a Talisman. Wow. This, man, I never get hands like this. I swear. I know you're seeing it right now, but I'm using up all my luck in playtesting. Okay, so I think I just, you know, play a Looter here. If you've got 2 Looters, play JVP first, because you want to be able to use him before he flips. Flipping is fine. Like, on the other hand, like, you know, we already have another Looter. The other alternative is you hold this until you need to flash back, because you can't prevent him from flipping. And, you know, once he flips, he's gonna die, because that's just how it goes. People don't like Planeswalkers, and rightly so. So really, like, you should expect to flip him, -3 him right away, cast flashback something, and then have it die. That's what you can expect out of this card. So I might actually hold this one on second thought and keep it until I need to flashback something. And if you have to just flashback something for value, like a Preordain or an Entomb or something, there's nothing wrong with that. Don't get too tunnel visioned on like making sure you're making the optimal play all the time. A lot of times just like the conservative play that uses all of your mana is the one that's going to win you games. And also might like keep from a lot of attention being put on you, which is, well, for me at least, I find that to be important. So let's play the Likeness Looter. Go to our next turn. How does play? Okay, so this is a nice instant speed discard outlet should we need it later. We can also gain a lot of life off it potentially. Like, we should try to remember it's in our graveyard, maybe put it in a separate pile so we remember that jump start. But we don't need to worry about this right now. I think what we do now is figure out if we can play a Mana Rock and Oskar on the same turn. We would have to get 3 mana values in our graveyard. We don't have a fetch land, unfortunately, so I don't think it's doable, because if we drop a land and then play a Mana Rock, like, I'm not actually going to do this, I just want to see how it would go. Yeah, we only have 1 mana value, so even if we loot, it's only going to get us 1 card in the graveyard, so maybe actually the right play would be use the looter first to see what we draw, because if we draw a fetch land, then we can do it. So let's draw. Okay, we didn't get a fetch, but let's just drop the Villison. Same explanation as last time. Hope someone doesn't have it with a Reanimate, because that would be really bad for us. We do have the bounce if that happens, but they're going to draw 8 cards. But if they just have the Animate dead, then it's less bad for us, because at least we have an answer. And then it would return to our hand. So I'd be careful about this if you don't have any answer at all, should the worst case scenario happen. So just think through that. So, okay, so our options are we could play a land and drop Oskar for 3 mana. That's not unreasonable. We could also just play double Mana Rock, and then we'd have 1 mana left over. I mean, both of them are equally inefficient in that we're like going to be wasting 1 mana, either by Oskar paying 3 for Oskar, or by playing double Talisman or double Mana Rock and then not having any use for the last mana. So given that these plays are equally inefficient, I would just compare them given the board state. Like, do I want to land Oskar right away? We don't have really anything we want to draw that quickly. So I think actually the play is to make the medium play, which is play the land, cast the Arcane Signet, and cast Jace. So if you chose option C, play 1 Mana Rock and play Jace, then I think that is the correct play. Honestly, all 3 were really close, and any would be good, so don't worry, don't stress if you would have done something differently. I think any of those plays are justified. Alright, let's go to our next turn. Okay, this is a land drop if we need it, like I discussed earlier, but I think what we do here is just play... it's like, which land is more valuable for us? So for this to come in untapped would cost us 3 life, so that's worth considering. Aurora is going to be more generally useful early, so I think we start off by looting to just try to see if we can find, and per what I was telling earlier, we want to loot with Jace first, because we want to loot with him while we still can, where he's not going to flip. So let's start by looting. Okay, we drew a Massacre Rebirth. We've got a 6 and an 8 in the graveyard, so we could discard Jihada's Ploy, because that would put this in the graveyard for us to use later, but I think I want to hang on to this. We don't have a lot of action. So I think we discard Gary. And this is making our graveyard a really juicy target for Bojuka Bog, so we just have to keep that in mind and hope that people aren't playing Bojuka Bog. Okay, so we now Oskar cost 2, right? We did not draw another land we wanted, so we could go for it again, but I think we'll start off by playing Oskar for 2. And now we can loot again. Normally I'd tell you wait to loot because you can play stuff at instant speed, but like we don't really have anything we care about casting at instant speed, so might as well just loot, see what we get. It's a Mystic Grimoire, so that's great. We can drop that and cast it with Oskar. And then we want to play land, so we'll just slam the... Let's just play the Ottawa up, because I think what we want to do is tap 2 and cast the Talisman. And then we have a black open for Massacre Rebirth, and we're going to draw a couple cards, if not more, off the fish, and we're set up really well here for success. So hopefully that helped. I'll just do one more, because I feel like these are really strong hands. I want to see something that's a little bit weaker. Okay, so this is a good one. This is a little bit tough, so why don't you think about it for a second and tell me, like, is this hand keepable? I'll wait 5 seconds for you to pause and thinking about it. Answer, easy yes. I hope that is the answer you came to, but if you didn't realize that Bogart Trawler was a land, I wouldn't blame you. However, you need to be careful about this. There are like 5 of these in the deck, so just make sure you're counting these as land. And then, boom, we've got any hand with like where I can play a turn 2 Search for Escanta. As my frequent viewers will know, this is one of my favorite cards ever. It's in like pretty much every deck I build that's blue. This card like will quietly win you a lot of games because first of all you're like making sure your draws are what you need in the first 7 turns or so, and then once it flips it's just ramping you by a land, and then the land is nice too. Like I don't ever really use it like more than maybe once a game, but if you're light on cards and you just need it, it can get you a little bit gassed when you're ready. So this kind of setup card is just kind of goes under the radar, but really helps win you games quietly. So I love it. So yeah, this hand's a definite keep because we've got 2 lands in these 2, and this can come in untapped if we need, right? It costs us 3 life, but like, please just don't even hesitate to pay 3 life. Big trap that a lot of new players make is like they're too scared to lose life. They're too scared to take a hit. They're gonna like chump block stuff. Your life is a resource. Please use it that way. You win the game whether you're at 1 life when you win or whether you're at 30. So like as long as you're not gonna die, like 3 life in the end probably won't matter. Now don't like get to that one game where you were at 3 and the person drew a lightning bolt and say like, okay, well I made the wrong decision because I played this Bogart Bog early and I lost 3 life and I didn't have to do that. You know, if you didn't do that and you played this as a tap land, first of all, like, to be honest, like we can play it as a tap land on turn 1 because we have no turn 1 play anyway. But I just want to make the point that like, don't compromise your play to have this come in tapped. In this case, it appears we don't have to do that. But if I drew a Putrid Imp right now as my draw for turn 1, you better believe I'm going to slam this untapped, lose 3 life, and play the Putrid Imp. You've got tons of life to work with, and I'll tell you something else. Like, I can't tell you how many times people are just like looking at the life totals and attacking whoever has the most life. Right? Have you done that? Have you seen opponents do that? They do it all the time. They're like, okay, oh, you're already at 37, I don't want to attack you. Instead of thinking like, who's the big threat here? Let me attack them. People suck, and they will make bad decisions based on things like, who's at the most life? I'm going to attack that person. It's inane. But anyway, I digress. So let's see what we draw. We drew Preordain. Okay, so that does change things, right? So we probably just want to play the Preordain turn 1. So let's play the island. Let's cast the Preordain. See what we get. Scribe 2. So the question is, do we want to draw the Street Wraith? I think we do, because it's just like I was talking about earlier. We already know our hand is good, so we don't like need anything in particular. We'd like to see a land, but I think it's worth getting a 5-drop into our graveyard for free. Well, for 2 life. So I think I will put Gary on the bottom, because we can find him later. We don't need him now. We don't want to draw him now. And I'll leave the Street Wraith on top. We'll draw 1 from the Preordain, and then we'll pass turn. Right before our turn, we'll cycle the Street Wraith. We'll lose 2 life. We'll draw a card. Okay, so we didn't draw land still. but now we're going to go to our turn. We're going to untap, no land. Bummer. That's fine. We're going to play the Bogart land for the 3 life. We're going to go down to, 35, right? Because we paid 2 for the Street Wraith. Are we going to stress that we're at 35 on turn 2? No, because it means we're not going to get attacked for 5 and someone else will. Probably. Unless you're playing against competent opponents, which, it happens. Rarely. Play 2, play the Search. We could play a Mana Rock, but we'll get there. We have two looks to find a land, right? Because we're going to go to our turn. We're going to scry this, surveil with the Search for Arcana. We're going to see it's a land. We're saying, hell yeah, I'll leave that on top. No, we're going to say, let's put that in the graveyard because we want to find an untapped land. Just kidding. Even I'm not that greedy. So we'll draw this card. We'll play it. We'll surveil 1. It's an Agadeem's Awakening. I'd probably leave this on top, although, the benefit to graveyarding this is that, we will see an extra card with Search for Azcanta, whereas if we leave this on top, I just realized we have a Villas and an Animate Dead in hand too. So if we find a way to get this in the graveyard, it's go time. And we have a Flesh Duplicate to copy it. This is hilarious. Okay, anyway, I think I might bin this just because then we get to see an extra card with Search, and it also gets us 1 closer to flipping the Search, which is really good because that ramps us. So let's get that in the graveyard. And then this comes untapped. We'll play a Mana Rock. Unfortunately, we can't play another one. It would have been great to draw an untapped land because then we can tap those 2, play the other Mana Rock, but so it goes. Next turn, this is the card we see with Search. We'll keep it on top. We'll draw it. And we've got our engine going. We've already got our 3 mana values in the graveyard, so Oskar costs 2. And you can see how this would play out from here. We just want to try to draw a discard outlet, and then we're ready to go. So that's it. I'm going to post a game right after this. I hope you enjoy. I know this was a long video, but this is one of my favorite commanders, and it's a little bit complicated. It's very rewarding to play, and I think you'll have a really good time with it. So thanks, and enjoy.
I'll take my first mulligan. I'll try this.
Sorry, my deck was all piled up, so I'm just making sure it's really shuffled. Alright, I'm going to randomize turn order. I'll do it 3 times. Once, twice, thrice. Sure, I'm ready.
Yep, already when you guys hurt.
Yeah. Oh my God, this doesn't work.
Anyone not ready? Cool. Start us off. Good luck, have fun.
Sweet. Draw. Kraken Evolving Wilds for a blue. Pass.
I'll draw. I'll play a forest attack.
Draw. Marsh I'll crack it for a surveil land and pass turn.
Oh, no soaring turn 1? That's a first.
I wish.
Draw. I'll play a Cavern of Souls, Sushin Eldrazi, and I'll pass.
Tap, draw. Play bounce land, bounce this back, and pass.
Hand size.
I have to discard 1.
Alright, draw. I'll play a swamp, tap 2 for a tower winder.
Nice.
Go find a command tower and I will put it in my hand and pass.
Last time I drew that, I drew the command tower same turn. I was so upset.
You get a free shuffle, in my opinion, at that point.
Yeah, I guess. I was just salty.
Yeah, does suck to do that.
Spymaster's Vault. You know what? I like that guy. I'm gonna take one too. I'll play a image copying Tower Winder. Pass turn after that.
Okay, draw. I'll play a Bayou. Tap 2. 1 green for up the beanstalk. On ETB, every time I cast a creature with mana value 5 or greater, I draw a card.
Pretty good.
Tap, draw. Play Sungrass Prairie. And pass. Not good.
In my hand. I'll draw. I'll play a basic island. And I will pass.
Tap up, keep, draw. Let's do a command tower. Tap 3 for Matzalantli, the Praetor. It's a looter card that can flip into a land later. I'll pass.
And tap, upkeep, draw. Nice. I'll play an Underground Sim. I'll tap 1, 2, 3 to evoke a Null Drifter. On cast, I'll draw 2 cards. On ETB, this one dies, and I'll draw another card for the up the beanstalk.
Nice.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'll discard Kozilek's command, and I'll pass.
And draw. Play a land. Plans. Tap 2 for Zora Signet. Pass off that.
This is some Christian magic we're playing here.
I'll draw. I'll play an Ancient Tomb. Tap, lose 2. And I'll play Felix. And pass turn.
On your end step, I'll tap the Matzalantli to draw a card and discard. Draw. I'll discard. Tough choice. I'll pitch Villain Visor. Untap. Upkeep, draw. Let's do that one. play Underground River as land for turn, and we'll use the Matzalantli now. Draw. I'll discard a Putrid Imp. And I'll tap 2 and play my commander. He costs 1 less for each mana value in my graveyard. I have 0, 1, and 5. And pass turn.
Tap, upkeep, draw. I'll play a Reflecting Pool. I'll tap 2 for a Green Monolith.
Grim Monolith?
Yes.
Jesus.
I'll tap 3 and 2 more for Ulalek. On ETB, I'll draw a card. Nice. And I'll pass.
Proxy Grim Monolith in a powerless 7 deck. Power 7 room is a little sketchy.
I mean, I have fast mana here, but the way I build this deck, I have a lot of cards that cost 10, 12, and all that.
Yeah.
Tap 4.
If you want, I can bring my real
No, it's
monolith.
fine. I'm just saying it's slightly unkosher.
Trust me, I almost never won like against a 7-8 deck.
Played a Tezzer's Gambit to draw because I am sweating. And,
You paid the full cost?
yeah. Play a land return and pass.
Oh, this card, yes.
I'll draw. I'll play Command Tower. Tap H2 and lose 2. 1, 2, 3. Tap 2. I'll play Alpha Authority onto Felix.
What's that do? Can I click on it?
Yeah.
Well, it gives it hexproof.
Hexproof and can't be blocked by more than 1 creature. And basically makes him unblockable.
And unblockable. Because he has menace.
Yeah.
I'll respond.
Okay.
Deadly Rollick. I'll pay the word.
Okay. You're good. Yeah, best.
Tap up, keep draw. Like Nykthos. Tap 4 for the 1 ring. Tap back a counter, draw 1. Pass.
Okay, draw. I'll play a Scrubland. I have to tap it like this. I'll tap 3, 1 blue, play a Kozilek's Unsealing. Whenever I cast a creature spell with value 4, 5, or 6, I create 2/0/1 spawn. Whenever I cast a spell with mana value 7 or greater, I draw 3 cards. I'll tap 2, 1 green to play a Farsick, and I'll pass.
Draw. 2, 3, 4. Attempt to cast a Smothering Tithe. Getting desperate.
Yes. I'll respond, I guess. I'll draw a card. And I'll discard and cast this Mystic Remora.
You pay the 2 for
Oskar. What?
You pay
I
the
can
2
respond.
for
I'm responding
Respond
to it.
to, yeah, to the cast.
So I discard
Okay,
Mystic
yeah.
Remora and I cast it with Oskar.
Alright. I'll pass.
One tap. I'll draw.
You pay the 2.
I'll pass. No, I don't pay 2. I'll just pass.
Untap, upkeep, I'll lose 1 from the ring. And Mystic Remora, I'll play. Draw for turn. Tap, draw 2.
So he creates 3 treasures.
Yeah. Shit.
Yeah.
Forgot about that. I'll play Takanuma as land for turn. And tap 3 and cast a Bogwitch. And I will send 3 at this. How do I say this? 2 tab.
Atraxa.
You put this thing in parentheses that's even harder to pronounce than anything else.
It's an acronym.
Oh, sorry, TTHS.
How much for that?
3 commander from Oskar, and I'm done.
Okay. Untap. Upkeep. Draw. I'll play a forest. I'll tap 1, 2, 3. Do I have 3 colorless? 1, 2. No, I don't. No, I don't. You can have your card. So I'll read that. I'll play a Painland. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yep. And I'll play Echoes of Eternity. For trigger ability of a colorless spell I control, it's triggered. It triggers twice. If I cast a colorless spell, it's copied.
What's it
I'm
called?
going.
Echoes of Eternity.
I'm going to take 2, and from that, and I'm going to hard cast it force again.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
that's fine.
Mystic Remora trigger on both those spells.
Neither.
How many
I
cards
can.
in hand? TTHS?
7.
Really?
I can do anything. So
Draw
How many you draw?
2.
Tap. Draw. Yeah, Plaza of Heroes. And crack 4 for Atraxa to be brought up. And 2 for Baleful Strix. Draw a card. Tap my Signet. Sungrass to cast Crafted Exoskeleton.
Jesus. You're paying for Mystic?
No. Do you pay?
No.
Okay. Then pay 2 equip this to Atraxa.
Sure.
And 3 left. Crack the last ones for tap that for propaganda.
Not paying.
No.
Not paying.
No. Yeah.
Cards in hand now? Wait, why are you drawing?
For my smothering tide.
That doesn't
You don't
show
draw
up in cards.
Oh, what am I doing? Yeah.
Have you drawn on all the other ones?
No, just that one. Oopsies. Sorry, guys.
How many cards in hand now?
5.
How do you steal so
And,
many cards?
Pass on that.
I guess you play Baleful Strix.
I'll draw for turn. Okay. I'm going to go to combat. I'm going to swing the Tower Winder at Absalom.
How big is that thing?
It's a 1/1 with Death Touch.
Nice. I'll take one.
All right. In response to that, I'll ninjutsu in by taking 2. Nashi Moonsage.
Okay.
And when it deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of each player's library until the end of my turn. You may play one of those. And I can pay life rather than its mana cost.
Oh, damn. Pretty good.
Force on my end.
Jihadist Ploy.
Planes.
You got a Path to Annihilation.
Okay. I'm just going to play my forest and tap 2.
You stay in exile.
Yeah, they stay in exile. Tap 2, I'll play Tower Winder again, and I will search for a command tower, fail the pond, and shuffle. Pass turn.
End step. Tap Matzalantli to draw a card. I'll discard a Feed the Swarm, and I'll cast it on Smothering Tithe.
I'm gonna spend this treasure to respond with a turn aside to counter a target spell that targets a permanent.
Sure. Not paying for Mystic?
No. Paying for smothering?
You can't.
Oh, let's
You get the treasure. Yeah.
I'm here to draw cards from Mystic, and I'm like, get into that mind.
Untap. I'll let the fish go. Lose 2 from the ring. Draw for turn.
You pay.
Let me think. Hold on. You have no draw engine, correct?
No.
Nowhere to draw on board? That's fine, you can have it. I'll play a Polluted Delta as land for turn. No. Okay. I'll tap 5. I'll cast a Treachery. Target Atraxa.
I'm gonna crack these 2 treasures to counterspell.
Pay a blue, lose life. Offer you can't refuse on counterspell.
Alright, hell yeah.
You get 2 more treasures. Yoink!
And is that just, what does that do?
It's a I gain control of it, and when it resolves, I untap 5 lands. It's an aura, so if you can deal with it, then you get it back.
How does that keep the artifact with her? Or?
Yeah, but it's still yours, so you can re-equip it on your turn.
Hell yeah. So, 5 floating.
5 floating. What did you say?
Did you say I get 5 floating mana?
No. I untap 5 lands once this is resolved. You can click on it. It's right here. You get it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay, cool.
Alright. Let's play. I'll activate Nykthos by paying 2. 1, 2. For blue, I have 1, 2, 3. Oh no, this is green. Maybe not worth. Alright, I'll just play a Patrician Geist. It gives my spirits +1/+1. I don't have any other spirits, but spells I cast from the graveyard cost 1 less. I already played a land. The Beanstalk. I'll move to end step and discard to hand size. I'll just go to Bloodstainmire. Pass.
And upkeep, draw. I'll play a forest. Now you can have everything you want. I'll top 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. To play a Conduit of Ruin. On cast, I can search a colorless spell with 1 value 7 or greater, reveal it and shuffle my library and put the card on top of it. And I will
respond with a vampiric tutor.
I still have priority. Wait for it.
Oh yeah.
No, he gets to respond to cast trigger.
I get to respond to my cast trigger too with the ability of Ulalek, so I can tap 2 and copy it.
Yeah.
And then you can do your thing. Yeah. I have a bunch of triggers. I have 2 of those, 2 of these. So I'll resolve this thing and create 4 spawns. Yeah. 4 spawns, search for 2 cards, put both of those into the library, and then draw 2 for the up the beanstalk. Okay. I'll pass. My first creature spell I cast costs 2 last to cast. So I have 4 last with this.
Pretty good.
Play command tower. Crack these 2. 1, 2 for Shalai, Voice of Plenty. I suppose I'll unequip that artifact, which will force her to be sacrificed. Equip it to Baleful Strix.
Good play.
And that 2, 3 to attempt to cast Skithrix, the Black Dragon.
Jesus, dude. Priority to John?
Nothing.
4/4 flying image effect. You can give it haste. Do you have any black up?
I do not.
Cards in hand?
0.
Pass priority.
Then I'll go around. Well, who's the most frightening?
Avatron, easily. He's about to fucking slaughter everyone. In fact, if we don't team up on him right now, we easily lose. What did you find with your conduit?
I don't have to reveal it.
Yeah, you do.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, fine. Darksteel Monolith. Oh yeah,
Anytime
sure.
it's conditional, you have to reveal it, because how would we know you're not cheating?
That's true. Darksteel Monolith and Ulalek the Defiler.
You can only get one because then it shuffles.
I can. Oh, you're right. I guess because I have 2 triggers. They both go in stock, then shuffle, then start. Yeah, you're right.
Well,
I'll
actually,
still.
hold on. You can probably weave in your beanstalks to draw them.
The Beanstalk is on ETB. So yeah, he's right.
Beanstalk is not on ETB. It's on cast, isn't it?
No, enters the battlefield. Oh, when you cast, yeah, you're right. So
yeah, so you can draw both, I think. Well, hold on.
No, because one shuffle, but I draw 4. You're right. So I'll reshuffle the Ulamog because I searched for this first, even though I wanted to keep the Ulamog, and then I'll do 1, 2, 3.
Hold on. You can search for one, put it on top, shuffle your library, put it on top, and then draw a card with Beanstalk. As long as you stack the triggers right, you can draw both.
Okay, you're right.
I mean, I'm pretty sure. Does anyone else disagree?
Right. I mean, I get it. Fine, man.
I think you can do it that way, as long as you would stack them that way, which I assume you would want to.
Yeah, I didn't talk about it that way. Thank you, man.
Sure.
End of the day. Okay.
No, that's okay. That's a hella confusing deck.
Yeah, Ulamog still. I'm 3rd time playing it. I'll have to draw 2 cards, but I'll shuffle first, and then I'll.
So hold on, I just want to make sure I understand what you got. You got Darksteel Monolith and Ulamog the Defiler?
Yes, the new one. Pulled it from the box, actually.
Okay.
On cast, I exile half a library of someone.
Do you have any reach?
I don't.
Kill him. Kill him with fire.
I'm going to send my Baleful Strix at Abatron.
Sure. Just saying. Surf City for sure is gonna win. I have to have 2 more. I'll do 2 more, and I'll take the how much?
It's 4, in fact.
Okay.
Or no, 3. Sorry.
3 in fact. Sure.
And instead, and pass.
1, 2, 3.
Untap. I'll draw.
Smothering.
Yeah, you can have it. Going to attempt. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Taking 2. And overloaded Psych Rift.
Ooh.
Nice.
I'll respond. I'm not going to counter it because I think that's good for us. But I'll crack the delta first. Sure. Pay black to activate Bog Witch. Discard a card to make triple black. I'm gonna discard sorry, I just need to think about this for 1 second. I'll discard Phyrexian Metamorph. And I've got 4 permanent types now: Artifact, Land, Enchantment, and Creature. So I will pay 1 more. Actually, I'll feed the 2 mana into Nykthos to make blue. 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 Oh, Treachery's gone. Actually, this doesn't do anything. So I'll just tap Nykthos for 4 mana total. You know what? I'm gonna, before I do anything, I'm gonna draw 3. Not paying for 5. Okay. And then I'll put 4 mana into Matzalantli Transform. Any response?
Nope.
Okay, so this will flip into the core, and it's tapped. And I've got 2 mana left. I will do nothing else.
Okay. Everything goes back to hand.
Oh yeah, got the treasure just to meet.
Alright. I'll swing at Surf for 3.
Sure.
On combat damage, everybody exiles.
You get a land.
Whereas,
Tortured Existence.
Tortured Existence, I will just play my Mana Crypt and pass.
Okay.
Strong.
And tap up key. Draw. Play Scalding Turn and crack it. Get Underground Sea.
Do you have only 1 enchantment in your graveyard?
Correct.
Fuck. Should have done something in response to you trying to get. Oh well. When you were trying to flip that, I was just looking at what I had in my hand. See if I could.
Alright, permanents engraved. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
No, you have 2 enchantments there. You would move on.
Oh, did I? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, so 9 permanents engraved. I'll tap the core for 9 of a single color. Yeah. I'll choose blue. 9 blue. Add a black. Play Oskar. 8 blue left. I'll play Patrician Geist. 5 left. Cast the One Ring. One left. Add one for Rona, Herald of Invasion.
Yeah.
And 1, 2 more for Jace Bryn's Prodigy. Actually, instead I'm going to play Psychic Frog. Could have done that better. Whatever. I will move to end step and I have to discard to hand size. So I'll discard Fog Witch, Troll, Acid Doom. Pass.
Untap. Upkeep. Draw. That's nice. I'll tap a Bayou for a Soul Ring. I'll tap a Soul Ring for a Green Mullet. I'll tap a Forest for a Mana Bolt. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, I'm going to tap 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9. I guess I have to tap both of those, so I'll have 12 to floating. To cast. Oh, you played the One Ring this turn, right? Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
So I'll just cast Ulalek, the Ceaseless Anger. On cast, I'll exile 2 target permanents, I'll exile Oskar, and I'll exile the One Ring.
Okay. In response, discard the One Ring. It's on cast.
It is on cast.
Yeah. Draw one. Sure.
Okay. I'll have 2 floating. I'll play a Wayscape Battle Mage, it's just a body. I didn't kick it. So, yeah. And I'll move to discard and pass the turn.
Good.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 8. I'll discard Rollick into the
Draw.
mountain.
Tap 2 for my Signet. Use 2 for Baleful Strix. Draw a card. Play a land for turn. Play a Morphic Pool untapped because of you guys.
You're welcome.
Tap for black, green, white. No one drops, no matter. Do an island to bring out. Oh wait, I'm retarded. Hang on. Alright, I'll just put a Smothering Tide back out. Attempt to.
Cards in hand?
5.
Fine with me.
Okay. Then we'll pass.
Alright, untap. Roll for crit, evens, no damage.
Let's go.
I'll draw.
Smother.
No, nothing. Tap 1, 2, 3, 4. Take 1 from the ancient, or 2 from the ancient. Green. We'll have 1 floating. I'll play Orange Frostfang.
Nice.
Go to combat. 1 floating will disappear. I'll swing Tower Winder and Nashi at 2 tab. They both have Death Touch.
Oh, she's what, the one I should not kill, huh? Is that the dragon? Hang on. Ah, there we go. I will block Nashi with my 1/1 Death Touch.
Alright, in response to blocks, I'm going to play Heroic Intervention. Keep it indestructible, so it's fine.
Darn.
I will draw 1 card from 1 Frostfang trigger, and I'll pass turn.
I'll take just 1.
Okay, on end step, I will activate the Spymaster's Ball to have the Psychic Frog connive. 1 creature died, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll connive 1. Discard.
Oh, but conniving triggered the smothering.
Yes.
Okay.
You can have it. Discard Massacre Wurm. Untap. Upkeep, draw. Play a Flooded Strand and crack it.
Leaving the smothering open.
You have 2 treasures?
Yeah.
I'll pay for it.
Oh, yeah.
Get a untap Water Grave and lose 2. What are we even doing? Tap the core for 13. 13 blue. Add a black and use 1 for Baleful Strix. Whoops, that's not Baleful Strix. Baleful Strix. Draw a card.
Smothering.
I'm not going to pay anymore. Actually, you know what? Fuck it, I'll pay. I have lots of mana. Rollick does not have Annihilator, right?
Nope.
Just exiles 20.
On up. Yeah.
That's still not great. You have no blockers, Atraxa?
I do not.
Okay. I'm gonna play I'll use 2 mana to play a Flesh Duplicate. It's a clone that enters with Vanishing 3. I'm gonna have it copy the Overrun Frostbang. I'll play Jace, Bryn's Prodigy. And I should recast my commander. Still costs 2. So I'll hit 5. 1 blue, 1 black. Actually, I'm gonna use the black to cast Dark Ritual. So I'll use 1 black for Oskar. And then 2 and 1 for Buried Alive. I have to search for 3 creatures and put them into my graveyard. Phyllis, Broker of Blood. Archon of Cruelty. And Clever Impersonator. Mana floating. I'll add a black. And I'll cast a Grey Merchant of Asphodel. That resolves my devotional. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not black. 5 total. So everyone lose 5. I get 15. Or pass priority for responses. Okay. 15, go to 42. Okay, I'm gonna go to combat. Do you have any flyers, Abatron?
Nope.
Okay. I will send a 2/2 in the air at you. And then TTHS, I'm gonna send Psychic Frog at you, and I'll attack you with Rona. So this is 2 damage, Abatron. This is 2 damage, or 3 total to you, Atraxa.
Oh yeah.
Everything's death touch, if that matters. You all took it?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll draw 3 from the Frostfang. Not paying.
It all pays out.
Pardon?
Paid out for me. Not too offended.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, wait, this is not blue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 blue, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 black. Okay. I'll activate the Nykthos for 6 blue. And I will cast a Shadow of the Second Sun, targeting myself. If it resolves as an aura, that basically gives me a beginning step at the end of my turn. So after my second main phase, I get to untap, upkeep, draw, and then my turn's over. I can't play anything.
Mm-hmm.
That's good?
Yep.
Cool. That will be it for my main phase. I'll move to end step. I'll untap. I get an upkeep. I don't think I have anything. Actually, oh, that's kind of bad with this. Okay, that's fine. So this ticks down, and then I draw. And I'll
Assuming you're paying.
Yeah, I suppose. I'm passing after that.
Untap. Upkeep. Draw. I'll move to combat, and I'm going to swing.
I'll take the treasure.
Yeah. I'm going to swing Ulalek to Surf City.
At who?
You. Surf City.
Okay.
Man.
I exile 20.
Yes.
And then it's just 10-10 vanilla?
Yeah, 10-10 indestructible, yeah.
I will block with I'll just no, that's stupid, I shouldn't take it. Jesus, summoning sick. Yes, I'll block with Praetor.
Okay.
Do you want to see?
No, don't worry about it. It's going to be, they're all exiled. It's going to be important with the second main. I'll top 10, second main,
7.
and I'll cast Ulalek to the fighter.
Oh, baby.
Targeting,
What is that one, 2? Hold on, let me read it. Priority goes to everyone else first. I got it, thanks.
No response.
Who are you targeting on cast?
You. Surf City.
Me. I'm the least value. You just exiled 20 cards, so you're going to get way less from me.
Okay.
Still doing it?
Yes.
Okay. It's rounded up.
Up, yes.
Okay, 16.
Now tell me the highest mana value of the card in exile. Of all the cards in exile.
That's everyone else too.
Yeah.
I have a 7.
2 lands.
I have nothing in exile.
Okay. So now this is a 14-14 Annihilator 7. Now,
So,
pass.
Oh boy. That's it. Draw. Spend the 6 to bring out Atraxa. Black white. I'm going to cast Shalai, Voice of Plenty. If that results, then I'll follow it up with Infectious Inquiry. And I'll draw 2 cards, lose 2 life, and each opponent gets a poison counter. Two left. Okay. I'll go to end step, and I'll proliferate all those counters and pass.
All right, untap. I will roll for crit. Evens no damage. 3 untap. I'll draw. Tap 2. I'll play Baleful. I'm not paying. I'll play Baleful Strix. I'll draw.
Not paying that one either.
No, not paying that one. Okay. Big blockers out there, but it's a little long indestructible.
Yeah.
No, he's not. Not that one.
The other one is.
Oh, no, sorry. Yeah, I have this is as only word, nothing else. This is a 2/2 with nothing else, and that's it.
Yeah.
He's not a 2/2. He's a 14/14.
Yeah.
No, this is a 2/2.
Yeah.
I'm going to swing Orin, Towerwinder, and Nashi at 2 tab.
Oh boy.
The easiest way I can get in for card draw.
Yeah.
I think you could get into Ulalek easy.
Yeah, you can. Honestly, if you want to redo that, if you attack me, I can only at most block 1. But this, I'm not going to destroy it. So yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't even know what's. All right, so Orin, Tower, and Nashi.
Maybe send Nashi at TTHS because he's got a 2/2, so he might block with that. His 2/2 does nothing.
I might block with that. Yeah, sure.
So don't send Nashi at him. Just send Nashi at someone else, and then the other 2 can go at him. He's not going to block those.
Yeah, I'll swing it at 2 tab, I guess. Get Nashi at 2 tab, Tower, and Orin at Atraxa.
Sure. How big are they?
1/1 Death Touch, 2/6 Death Touch, and Nashi's a 2/2.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll block the 1/1 Death Touch with the Wayscape, and I'll take it.
I'm going to. I can't. Okay. Oh wait, I can. Spend a treasure, both treasures, and respond with Infectious Bite. And have my Atraxa do 4 damage to your Nashi.
Okay.
And everybody get a poison counter.
Okay.
Okay. Orin will do damage. I will draw a card.
Smother me.
And
you pay for a smother?
Yeah, I will for that time.
Oh yeah.
And I'll tap 2, lose 2, and attempt to Toxic Deluge, paying. I'll pay 19 life.
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah, for sure. No response.
I respond. I'm responding. 19. That is a lot.
The most important life is the last one, for sure.
That is true, but he has mana crypt.
Oh, yeah. Right.
I'll tap the core for a lot. I'll count it if it matters. It's like 15 or something. I'm going to discard to Psychic Frog to put a +1 counter on it. I'll Circular Logic, counter it unless you pay 20 or so.
It happens.
Okay.
Alright. I'll pay 2 life, play Nykthos Revival, and die.
Damn.
Alright.
That was going out of it anyway.
To you dying or
Yeah.
to you casting. I'll cycle a Street Wraith, lose 2 life, draw a card, not paying. Or, yeah, I'll pay. Fuck it, I forgot I have like infinite mana. Tap double black to go with my blue. I'll cast Fel the Profane.
I don't think you can hear him anymore. Wait, the lobby broke.
What?
What? Oh,
Oh, he probably couldn't hear. When someone leaves, it like sometimes messes things up. Hey, can you hear us now?
I can hear you, yes. Yes, can you... Bob?
yeah.
Okay.
So you paid with your infinite?
Yes.
Damn.
I'll cast Fel the Profane on Ulalek. I'll pay the ward. Ward
Sure.
is sack 2 permanents, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I will sack. I'll sack the Flesh Duplicate. And something. Let's do the. Sorry, to think about this. Sack the Patrician Feast.
Okay.
Okay, and then also in response to him casting Noxious Revival, let me count how much blue I had because I'm actually going to play a few things. So these weren't there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nope, 6. Nope, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 blue. So I used 1 for Circular Logic. I used 2 for Fel the Profane. I have 15 left. I paid 2 for the black on Fel the Profane. Okay, 15 remaining. I can discard a card to cast spells, basically. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll cast a Lorien Revealed for going down to 10 blue remaining. So I'll get +1. I'll draw 3. Not, hold on, I might pay. How many cards do you have?
4. Oh, 5.
I will pay for all of them, so I'm down to 4 blue left. Discard and cast Talisman of Dominance. 2 blue left. Discard, or I'll pay a black. Activate the Spymaster's Vault. Creatures that died this turn. What's his name had 2. It was the Viper and the Nashi. You had 2 Abatron, correct?
That is done? Yep. Is that?
Okay. And you had none, right, Atraxa?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll connive 4 on the Baleful Strix. Shit,
Bang.
careful. I'll let you know shortly.
Right.
Try 4. Discard 4. I'm gonna discard. Discard Reanimate and 3 land. Am I paying? I have black, 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 black. Pay 2 into Nykthos for 2, 4, 5. Or I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then I don't know. Oh, I could play black with this. Just pay, so I'll make 6 blue, and I'll pay for all of it. No, pay for all but 1. You get 1.
Hey.
And then I'll pay a black to cast the Reanimate. So I'll lose a life from the cast, and then I'll Reanimate. What's in your graveyards? Like things I might care about? Trust your judgment.
Ulalek, I guess?
I have a Vampiric Tutor.
No, only creatures.
Oh, creatures. Baleful. Just a Baleful Strix.
Okay, all good, thanks. I will bring in the Archon of Cruelty. And I'll lose 8. And I'll send the ETB trigger at you, Avatron.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna sack a
I know.
creature or planeswalker, discard a card, and lose 3 life.
Sure. Sounds like this. Discard a card.
Gain 3, draw a card. Okay, and that's it for end of turn. I'll to my turn.
Damn.
Yeah, I told you it was going to win.
I'll just set these down.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna win, but it was a close game. It could have gone another way easily. I'll draw. I could deck myself too. I have
No, it really
5
didn't.
cards left. What?
I don't think it didn't. Could have gone either way. But yeah, sure, go ahead.
Well, I mean, like, if anyone dealt with this, I think that would have turned me off.
Yeah, but that's the point. Like, even if I say, guys, Surf City is about to win, you should deal with them. Doesn't matter because I'm playing Eldrazi, so they target me. Don't worry about it. I'm fine with that. Every single time.
But, if we hadn't turned off that enchantment, or if, you would have easily won. So it's hard to say, because everyone always does shut down the Eldrazi deck, and they never win. You're right. I'm not disagreeing with you. But if they didn't, I think it would be predetermined as well. So it's hard to know what would have happened. You know what I mean?
I'll disagree with you, but go on. Sure.
All right, fine. I'll play a Shipwreck Marsh. You're at 27. How many black pips do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, let's start off with make a bunch. Hold on, maybe I should just attack first. I will. You have no blockers, Avatron?
Nope.
2 base mother.
Yes. You've got 2 blockers, TTHS?
Yeah.
And how big are they?
4/4 and a 3/4, both fine.
Okay. Archon of Cruelty going at you, TTHS. These 3 going at you, Avatron.
Okay.
On attack with the Archon, I'll send the trigger at you, TTHS, so you have to sack a creature or planeswalker, discard a card, and lose 3 life.
I'll get rid of my Frenzer Knight. Take 3.
Yep, and sack a creature.
Sack a creature. I'll do Shalai.
Draw a card, gain 3. And then, before damage, do I want to pump this at all? I think I do. I'll discard these 2. Discard Toxic Deluge. We'll go with just those 3. So this will be +3. So that's 8, 11, 12 to you, Abatron.
I'll take 12.
And then a 6/6 coming at you, TTHS.
Did you pay for the draw off of the cruelty?
Oh, I will pay, yeah.
Alright. We'll take 6.
Okay. We're going to tap Jace to draw a card. Second main. There we go. Okay, I got it. I'll pay. Tap the core for a bunch, and I'll cast Agadeem's Awakening for X is 8. So if that resolves, I'm going to win. So if you can stop it, you should try.
I have 0 response to this.
Okay, I'll bring in Flesh Duplicate, copying Gary. I think I have another clone. Yeah, Clever Impersonator, copying Gary. I could bring in Villas for extra devotion. I think it's plenty, but I can count it if you guys want. What do you... Do you want me to count it?
No.
I'm going to clone Gary. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 devotion. So this one's going to be 9. This one's going to be 11. So that's 20.
Good one.
Makes sense?
Yep, you got it.
All right. Good game, guys.